To set the record straight on operations at the Optimum Coal Mine owned by BEE company Tegeta Exploration and Resources, in which Oakbay has a 29% shareholding, and its relationship with Eskom, the electricity public utility. In the last few months, Oakbay says it has been appalled at the constant insinuation circled and printed by media about the company based on faceless sources and zero evidence. In recent days, Oakbay has been asked questions about Optimum Coal Mine, Eskom, and the supply of coal to the Arnot power station. Well, to tell us more and to hopefully answer some of those questions that were raised yesterday in many publications, Nazeem Howa, the CEO of Oakbay Investments, joins us in studio. Nazeem, welcome. Good to have you on the program.
Thanks, Leon.
All right, so you are here to set the record straight on a number of issues that were raised in Sunday papers. Not one, but two, and a television expose, all happening in one day. All right, where do you want to begin? Should we begin with Eskom?
Certainly.
Let's do that. What's happening? I mean, you set the record straight for us. We're talking, and there's speak of Eskom giving your company a basically financial miracle recovery over those last few months by giving you a massive contract.
Well, you know, perhaps the danger starts when you have a journalist getting into issues she doesn't understand. The Eskom so-called bailout was a normal transaction negotiated between parties, transparent, at arm's length. It went through all the proper structures at Eskom. Yeah. Essentially, the Optimum Coal deal, and I think the confusion there is very clear to me. Our decision to purchase Optimum Coal Mine started in June last year. We've had several rounds of negotiation with the then owners, Glencore, and from August, when the business rescue practitioners came in, they joined the negotiations. In those negotiations, Glencore broke talks twice to pursue other purchases, and came back to the table because there were no other viable options. So we bought the mine. Before we signed the agreement, we had to provide proof of funding, which we did. All parties were happy that we could fund the transaction. In April, mid-April, we were approached by Eskom, who wanted additional coal supply from us. We must all recall the business was in business rescue at that stage. So when you're in business rescue, nobody will give you credit. At the same time, our bank facilities were being closed. Eskom explained to us they had an emergency, they needed additional coal, they needed to secure sufficient coal to make sure there was no load shedding in the winter months. We said to them we could do it on condition that there was a prepayment so that we could fund additional development at the mine. And we used the funding to do that. But for the record, we did not impact any other Eskom coal contract. Every coal contract we have with Eskom, and we have 3, was met.
And that's despite what the article was saying? Despite what the article was saying.
If the journalist took the trouble, she would know that when we bought the mine, it was producing 400,000 tons of coal per month. Today it's producing 800,000 coal per month. So we're producing sufficient to service all our contracts.
Yeah.
We've not defaulted in a single one.
What about payment, and what about the price? I mean, just talking, we'd had our Minister Lynn Brown talking in Parliament saying that Eskom pays 230 rand and 90 cents a tonne. But in this article, it stated that with transport, Eskom's paying you 580 rand per tonne. Why such a... I mean, this is almost double the going price.
You know, the difficulty with averages is that it doesn't take into consideration quality of coal. The big factor in coal pricing is quality of coal. The secondary factor is, if you have to transport it, is distance of transport. Because there you pay a rate per mile, or per kilometre, sorry. So that's a difference. I think also, you know, I would like us to talk like for like. And you know, our invitation to all these so-called investigative journalists is, why don't we look at all the contracts? We have less than 5% of the coal supply to Eskom. 80% is held by the historically advantaged companies. So let's put all the contracts on the table.
Yeah. Well, what about this contract that they mention, Mzambiti, that they are being paid less than you?
Well, you know, they've included transport in our 580, and the distance from where we are to there is vastly different.
Yeah.
Because you're paying by per kilometre.
Does it surprise you that the media is so fascinated with your operations?
Well, it probably annoys me more than surprises me, because we're such a small business. And it looked like, I was looking at the Sunday Times lead story, it looks like there's an agenda to prevent anybody doing business with us. So when I read the Sunday Times lead story, it's like no bank should step in the vacuum left by the 4 South African banks. So it really is a pressure point on that bank not to do business with us.
Getting to the Sunday Times story, and you dispute the fact that, and I suppose your main argument is there, nameless sources. Is that's your argument? They don't name any sources, so where's the story there?
Well, you know, in a few weeks' time, everybody would have forgotten was nameless sources, and it would become fact. It will then be republished by somebody else as fact. But, you know, the pressure for us and the concern for us is on the Bank of Baroda, mentioned in this story, and the kind of pressure that will be brought to bear on them not to do business with us.
Yeah.
We really see it as that kind of attack.
Have you been approached by the Reserve Bank? Have you been approached by the FIC to provide these documents?
Absolutely not.
You haven't been?
Absolutely
But if they approach you today?
We would welcome it if it's going to end all this nonsense. But, you know, you cannot try somebody through the media. That's not possible. You know, you have to provide evidence. And, you know, Leon, you've been around the block as much as I have, although you look much better than I do. Faceless, nameless sources don't work for journalism. I think what worries me is about the quality of our journalism today.
Yeah.
You know, when we have so-called investigative journalists who get facts so basically wrong, and you know, we cannot respond to that kind of journalism.
But a lot of the time, it gets reported right. And Nazeem, I think when we can't dispute some of the media reports that are out there, and we cannot dispute the fact that there is a very close relationship between the Gupta family and President Jacob Zuma, which of course is going to put the company under the spotlight, which of course is going to raise alarms when you suddenly see a company making a massive turnaround where it was losing up to, what was it, 3 million a day, if not more, and now suddenly it's going to be out of business rescue within less than the amount of time. One has to ask those questions. One has to look at the story and the fact that there's allegations that the Gupta family may have had a hand in management at Eskom. I mean, why does it surprise you that the media is so interested in this?
You know, because I know the facts, and that makes a very big difference. So the 3 million or 100 rand a month is absolute rubbish. It is absolute rubbish.
Do you really know the facts? Do you really know what goes on behind closed doors?
Certainly I do.
You do?
I'm the group chief executive.
Yeah.
The Eskom contracts come through my hands. So I'm the person that is the liaison between Eskom and ourselves. In fact, the kind of media scrutiny we're under makes it harder for us to deal with Eskom, because Eskom is very nervous about the kind of pressure that will be brought to bear on them when they do business with us.
Yeah.
For that reason, they are super careful about following process. But, you know, our journalists, you know, and I really want to deal with this 100 million rand or 3 million rand a day. It is absolute rubbish. And, you know, I wish somebody would phone the business rescue practitioners who are in charge of Optimum Coal Mine at the moment in terms of the business rescue process. And they'll tell you we've not lost close to 100 million a month. But it's published as fact in City Press. So that's why I say to you, I know the facts. The way we run our business, we're on the ground, we're hands-on.
Yeah, yeah.
On Optimum, you can ask me any bit of the business and I'll be able to answer that.
Yeah. Well, but, you know, again, I mean, I suppose it's very difficult to say that you know everything when your shareholders have been accused of many things. I mean, we've now seen the DA wanting the public protector to investigate the Eskom saga and the deals that may be happening there. And again, you welcome this?
We certainly welcome that. If you looked at the Eskom statement yesterday, they said in their statement, and it was a surprise to us, that all our contracts at Eskom have been scrutinized by both the Auditor General and the National Treasury already. Now, if we're 5% of the supply, why is the same scrutiny not going on for the 80% of historically advantaged supply? Because that consists of 5 companies. Yeah. So we welcome any investigation. We have no concerns about that. The difficulty for us, Leanne, is when you have to deal with nameless, faceless, source-based stories, which actually bear no resemblance to fact.
Yeah.
That is our difficulty.
Yeah. When it comes to the bank, and finally, I know that we've unfortunately have to wrap this interview, but when it comes to your banking and the Bank of Baroda, there's a lot of allegations also in the Sunday Times newspaper with all this money going in and where is it going? And there were allegations from Julius Malema saying that our very own president was walking with money into Dubai and that was being, I suppose, taken out of the country for the Gupta family. I mean, there are a lot of allegations against the Gupta family. And I know you're finding it difficult to do business with all the banks shutting your business down. But again, big allegations there, huge allegations with the Bank of Baroda. Do you think they are going to want to continue doing business with you?
I think that is the aim of the allegations, to stop them doing business. You know, 4 of the local banks have closed our bank accounts. Certainly we have moved to another international bank to work with us. I think it looks to me like the agenda is to stop that bank working with us. But, you know, what we're very clear about is not 1 single cent of cash generated by our company in South Africa has left this country ever since we launched the company. not 1 single cent. And we're open to scrutiny on that issue.
Yeah. Well, you certainly will be scrutinised, and I'm sure the Public Protector, during some of the investigations, hopefully talking about state capture and all the other issues around that, will certainly be revealing the truth so that you can, as you say, get on with business in an honest way. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you, Leah.
Thanks for coming and setting the record straight from their perspective. Nazeem Howa, the CEO of Oakbay Investments. Let's take a break.